Greetings, fellow nerds. This is Chris, and welcome back to D's Nerds. And we are doing something pretty crazy today. I wanted to start getting more into physical media and providing more of a presence regarding that, which we've done some stuff here in the last. We've done movie hauls, and I think we've done stuff like our Christmas movie collection, Scream Factory collection. But what I wanted to do is I just wanted to show you guys our total movie physical media collection when it comes to like TV and movies. And so, so we're going to do this in chunks because one thing that I just cannot, some of these videos I see on YouTube, they're like 3 hours long going through, and it's like, oh my gosh, like that just feels like a lot to sit through. So I'm doing this in chunks. So I'm going to be doing this over the next little bit, just going through our collection. And we're going to start with the numbers and A and B, and we're just going to work our way through alphabetically. So that's how we do our collection. We actually go in alphabetical order, with some exceptions. Like if something's a direct sequel, think like Batman Begins, The Dark Knight Rises. That's all right after Batman Begins. So you'll see some of those exceptions as we move throughout here. And I'm really excited to show this off to you guys because I don't think we've really gone this in depth ever. And I think it'll just give you guys, outside of like the normal stuff that we talk about, like what are we watching, this will kind of give you a little bit of a deeper idea on what our collection looks like. I also hope that I don't have a huge accident in here, and I've got a picture that I took of like what I'm seeing, of like the camera setup and all the movies that are stacked, and I've got them stacked very high. So if I make it through it without having a huge accident, that will be a minor miracle. So let's start off. As I reach over here to grab one big chunk of it, we start off with the Bond movies. Because whenever I'm putting this collection together, I just didn't quite know, I didn't want to break up those titles. So I didn't want to, have them all strewn throughout the collection, but I did want to have them in one thing, but I didn't know whether to put it under J for James Bond, starting with the first movie, Dr. No. I didn't know whether to put that under D. It's one of those things, if you're a collector, if you know, you know. It's just those little things that just, drive you crazy. So I started, and I just figured 00, that's fine. 007, even though it's 7, technically, you would start with 7. I don't know. I'm just, in my mind, to justify it, it's starting off with 00. So, and we have all the Bond movies. So we have, of course, as I said, Dr. No, From Russia with Love there. Now you're going to see, like, as we move in here, because I also have Goldfinger. Of course, all these are just great, Thunderball. And then as we move past Thunderball, when they first started coming out with these on Blu-ray, they released like half of the movies, and they were kind of sporadic. They did like the first 4, then they did some from Roger Moore, some from Pierce Brosnan, Timothy Dalton, all that. And they did them in this design, as you can see. But then they came out and they released all the other ones, including the original ones that they released. Instead of doing that in the new design, they did it in a brand new design, which is something more like this, what you see with You Only Live Twice. So instead of having to go back and rebuy all those movies, I just said screw it, and I just bought the ones I didn't have, and so they looked two different things, but I kind of felt like that was dumb, so what can I say? So there's that one. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, really underrated, love that one to death. Diamonds Are Forever, Connery's last one there. And then we also have Live and Let Die, the debut of Roger Moore. And then we have The Man with the Golden Gun, Christopher Lee, always a win. The Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker, right there. That's pretty cool. For Your Eyes Only, which again, Roger Moore did a lot of Bonds. So let me put this stack down here, and then we'll pick out another big stack. We'll just do the rest of the Bonds here. So we did half. Here's the other. So then, of course, we have Octopussy. Now I'll put these right here. It's going to be figuring out where to put these after I show them off. It's going to be a little interesting. So we got A View to a Kill. Of course, that's the last Roger Moore Bond movie. Then we move on to Timothy Dalton, Living Daylights. I gotta say, not Roger Moore, but Timothy Dalton is very underrated as James Bond. Very good. And then there is License to Kill, his last one. He only did 2, which is kind of weird. Then we move to Pierce Brosnan, GoldenEye, great movie. Then we have Tomorrow Never Dies. There's The World Is Not Enough. And the last one of the Brosnans, Die Another Day. And then also, now we move on to Daniel Craig. Honestly, it's my favorite era Bond. You know, of course, I grew up watching Bond a lot on TV, so very familiar, always very familiar with, Sean Connery and Roger Moore and all that. But man, Daniel Craig's just straight up killed it. But we have all five. We have Casino Royale. We have Quantum of Solace, whatever you want to call it. Skyfall, which I haven't seen the last one yet, but so far this is my favorite of the group. Spectre, very underrated. And then, of course, the last one, No Time to Die. We have not watched it yet, but we are making plans to. So that is definitely on our radar there. But there's all the Bonds. So we start off with a big series right off the bat, which is kind of cool. But now we'll move more into the numbers part. So, so we'll just kind of can't talk. We're going to walk right through them. So we got 310 to Yuma. Great remake of of already a Western classic, but Russell Crowe and Christian Bale, great stuff. The Fifth Wave, this is like a YA kind of a thing. It was a series, but they only did the first movie. I thought this was actually really good. I'm kind of sad it didn't get any other movies come out on it. 8 Mile, gotta love Eminem in this. Who knew Eminem could make a good movie, right? Great rapper, but definitely didn't see that coming. 10 Things I Hate About You. Come on, Heath Ledger, always a win. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I get bad with names sometimes. Great in that. This is just a really fun movie. This 13 Go on 30. This is one of Michelle's romantic comedies. She really likes this movie. I don't think I've ever seen it. 17 again. Zac Efron. Zac Efron's pretty cool. I like him. 21. Great kind of counting cards movie. Jim Sturgis is just it's just really awesome. And then, of course, we have 21 Jump Street, one of my favorite comedies. So funny. Oh, my gosh. And then we have 22 Jump Street as well, the sequel. I like this one just as much as 21 Jump Street. Michelle's kind of like, meh. But that's okay. And then another romantic comedy for Michelle, 27 Dresses. And then we have the great horror films, 28 Days Later. And yes, this one's supposed to look bad on purpose. They shot it with some type of digital video kind of thing, and it looks horrific until the last scene. But, such a classic. 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. Also very, very good follow-up. I really want to see a 28 Months Later, but we'll see. We're getting into some Hitchcock here as well. So here's the 39 Steps Criterion collection there. Oh, Hitchcock can't miss, man. 40-Year-Old Virgin, one of my absolute favorite comedies of all time, ranked it in my top 10. Maybe they've even been like top, I can't remember what order I ranked it in, but it was like 2 or 3. Oh, Steve Carell. 42, the Jackie Robinson story. Chadwick Boseman, man. What can you say? Rest in peace. This is one that we bought. Haven't watched it just yet, but you can bet your butt I already know it's going to be amazing. And then another baseball movie, 61. This is another one that was a recommendation. I still haven't watched it yet, but again, probably as we get more into the spring, I'll get more in a baseball mood. We'll knock out a couple of those. So there's that part. Well, we are through the first of 4 humongous stacks looking at that. So far, no accidents, which is great. Because I have this ability to be able to if I'm turning, I will hit a cup of water on the table. I won't just knock it off. I'll hit it so it just so perfectly, at the perfect amount of force for it to just tip over. So I'm kind of like a bull in a china shop right now, and I'm really scared to death. So we're 25% there, so we're good. So now we're moving on. This group here will have the rest of the numbers, and then we start getting into the A's here. So what collection? Can you have a good movie collection without having Disney, especially classic animated Disney? The answer is no, you can't. But it's 101 Dalmatians. Yes, amazing. Then we follow up, kids, Disney, Everybody Feels Good too. Zack Snyder, 300. Oh man, such a great movie. I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder. 1408. I'm still really mad at this one because we had the DVD before we upgraded to Blu-ray. And I like the ending better on the DVD. They put a completely different ending in on the Blu-ray, but they didn't even like put the original ending. I have like 3 endings on here, but none of them are the one that was on the DVD. I don't understand it, but I still really like the movie. John Hurt, 1984, another Criterion edition. You know, what can I say? This is just depressing, but it's so well made and so wonderful. So, and then of course a great comedy, Accepted. Jeez, this movie has always had my heart. It's really funny. Ask me about my wiener. And then, you know, if you love the Beatles, you gotta love Across the Universe. Jim Sturgis, once again, absolutely killing it. This is such a fun movie, and the way they reimagine, you know, some of these Beatles songs in here is really well done. We have a twofer, the Addams Family, the first Addams, you know, the Addams Family movie from the early 90s, and the sequel, Addams Family Values. You know, if they ever come out with Addams Family Values on 4K as well, I definitely would want to upgrade. The Adjustment Bureau, great sci-fi movie. You know, Matt Damon, you know, Emily Blunt, 2 great stars, really fun. Adventures in Babysitting, this is one of Michelle's favorites. She absolutely loves this movie. I have a lot of fun with it too. My favorite thing in this is that it has a cameo by Albert Collins. If you're not aware of who Albert Collins is, he's the guy in the club, you know, you can't leave without singing the blues. And, you know, that guy, great guitar player, one of the greatest blues guitar players of all time. Just a really, really great artist. Highly recommend you check out his work if you kind of dig that kind of stuff. Have another Disney movie here, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. You know, I'm fairly certain, if I've watched this, it's been so long ago, I don't remember it. But, you know, that's a good Charlotte movie anyway. Of course, you got to have Harrison Ford, Air Force One, Harrison Ford doing Harrison Ford things. And then Airheads. This one makes me kind of mad. I bought this used DVD. I really would love to see this on Blu-ray, but they had it out for a while. It's been out of print a long time. It's going for like $200 or $300 in certain places. It's like, what? How can you not have this movie on Blu-ray? This is amazing. This is like one of the better like music movies from the early 90s. And it's Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser's awesome. So, whatever. That's my rant for that one. So, we got, and then of course we end up this little pile with Aladdin, another great Disney movie. So, Robin Williams, such a legend. It's really sad that he's not here anymore, but you know, at least we have him. We have his great films and his great stand-up comedy and everything to live on. So, next up, oh man, this one's a big box set. So, this is a big boy. So, we have got, speaking of Alfred Hitchcock, we've got the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection. This is, I forget how many movies in here, but I'll go through and we'll list them. I have to go through it here because it doesn't have anything on the outside. And I want to make sure I don't miss any. So, we've got a Saboteur. We've got Shadow of a Doubt. Rope. Love Rope. Great stuff. Rear Window. The Trouble with Harry. The Man Who Knew Too Much. That's the one that James Stewart and I can't talk today. Doris Day. Sorry. Of course, Vertigo. North by Northwest. Psycho. Classic. The Birds. Marnie. Torn Curtain. Topaz. Frenzy. And Family Plot. And it's just a really nice big box set. Of course, it's got those cardboard sleeves, which I know a lot of physical media lovers hate, but I think it's pretty well done here considering. But I mean, it's a really cool looking box set. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of, I mean, this is one of my favorite box sets. It's a lot of fun. So put that right over there. So kind of moving on, we have more animated Disney wonderfulness. We got Alice in Wonderland right there. And then, of course, we have the Tim Burton live-action Alice in Wonderland, along with its sequel, Alice Through the Looking Glass. Next, we're moving from Disney into horror, sci-fi horror, with Alien, the Alien quadrilogy of Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. Alien and Aliens is perfect. Great stuff. Alien 3 is serviceable. Alien Resurrection, yeah. Yeah, it's weird. And then, of course, after this is kind of an example coming up here of what I talked about whenever it's not strictly alphabetical order. Like, if there's something that we consider like a direct sequel or even a prequel, we will put it in that grouping. So this is where Prometheus comes in. Again, that would normally belong in the P's if we were going strict alphabetical, but we're not because it absolutely is an Alien movie. And then, of course, Alien Covenant, which I really have no feelings on whatsoever. It just kind of is. It's serviceable. So, and then also kind of in finishing up this little batch here, we've got American Graffiti, George Lucas. Haven't watched that one yet. American Hustle. That's just some great acting talent right there. I mean, jeez. And then, of course, John Landis's great American Werewolf in London. That may be one I want to upgrade to 4K at some point. So there's that. We'll start setting that right there. Now we'll grab this bit here to close out this big stack. If I get all these back onto the shelf after we're done and I don't drop a single one, yeah, that I wouldn't put money on myself for that happening. But if it happened, that would be really cool. So next up, great comedy, Anchorman. This is just, I've quoted this one far too much. This has just been in my life for a long time. But yeah, I don't have the sequel actually though. I don't know why. I've never watched it. So just never got around to it. That probably needs to change sooner rather than later. So, and then of course the comedy classic, Animal House. Belushi is the man. Next up is Anna Karenina. This is one of Michelle's that she likes. I honestly have never seen it, so I have no opinion on it. You know, I know it's one of those kind of period kind of dramas, but I can't tell you one way or another. Next up is Ant-Man. Great MCU movie, and I love the fact they have a different colored Blu-ray case with it. Very cool stuff. Followed up by its sequel, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Which I feel like those get a lot of, those tend to be regarded as some of the weaker movies in the MCU. I disagree. I really enjoy them. So that's just me though. Of course, football movie, Any Given Sunday. I saw this a lot back in college on late night TV and stuff like that. I have not watched it since I got it on Blu-ray, but it's a great football movie. Apollo 13, Tom Hanks, as Michelle would say, is a national treasure. One of my personal favorite DCU movies, Aquaman on 4K. Really stunning looking. Just makes me happy. So, and then we have a double feature here of Ben Affleck movies. Here we have Argo and The Town. Bought it on our vacation last year and just haven't watched it yet, but we've got it in the unwatched pile. Assassin's Creed. This is another one. Honestly, I'm kind of at the point, whenever we first watched it, it was very meh for me. I could foresee a day where we purge this one at some point. But, it was okay, but right now I wouldn't want to revisit again, but things do change. Next up is John Carpenter. If you're anywhere familiar with this channel and anything with me regarding physical media, you know I love John Carpenter so very much. Assault on Precinct 13. Just, what a great movie. I believe it was like his second one. And what a great film. And then, of course, there's the remake. I saw this on TV a couple of times a few years ago, and we bought the Blu-ray. Still haven't watched it yet, but I remember it being a pretty serviceable remake. Next up is another really good kind of music drama. It's August Rush. Really enjoy this one. It's been a while since I watched it, though, but I really like this movie. And what comedy collection would be complete without, yeah, baby, Austin Powers? The collection with, of course, all three movies in it. Honestly, it's been a long time since I watched these. I feel like I watched them so many times, it's just like ingrained in me. And then we're going to follow up, we're going to end up this pack with, a whole bunch of Avengers. So we got the original Avengers from 2012 right there. Now you can tell how long I've been after this and I haven't upgraded because it's still released by Paramount. So I haven't upgraded since then, but this is a great film, as many of you very well know. Followed up by Age of Ultron. I do love the different colored Blu-ray case on here, the red. It's really cool looking. And then, of course, Infinity War and the epic Endgame. Whew. That movie still just gets me going. It's amazing. Both of those. And then, of course, Age of Ultron. It's okay. It's not... if you're ranking all four, it's definitely the weakest of the four. And then, I don't know, that 2012 movie is still spectacular. So, all right. We're 2 huge stacks down. We're 50% through without a catastrophic situation yet, so that's great. So let's get into another thing here. So, all right, we'll kind of use a little smaller one here because I've got a bigger steelbook box set to talk about along with it. All right, this next one, The Babe, baseball movie. I like John Goodman. I like Babe Ruth. Haven't watched it yet. It's still in the unwatched pile. Next up, the classic Back to the Future trilogy. Some of Michelle's favorite films and some of mine as well. So great. This is one I'm definitely wanting to upgrade to 4K here soon, but the Blu-ray set does just fine. And Bad Santa, of course, Billy Bob Thornton. Enough said. Great Christmas movie. One we haven't watched yet, Bad Santa 2. We did not get through this. I think I talked about it in our Christmas movie collection one that maybe this is the year, but nope, it wasn't. Next up is Batman, the movie from the Adam West era. This is a really funny movie, and we'll talk about Batman 66 as we go through the rest of our collection in more of the TV section, but this is really fun. Along with the animated movies that Adam West and Burt Ward and Julie Newmar came back and did, shortly before Adam West passed away, we have the Return of the Caped Crusaders. These are really great if you love the 1966 Batman movies. Our Batman series. It's really good and really faithful to it, and I loved it a lot. And then Batman vs. Two-Face with William Shatner as Harvey Dent. This is awesome. Really love it. And then next up, I'll bring in this case here to kind of discuss alongside with it because there's kind of a story here with it. So we have the Burton Schumacher Batman films on Blu-ray and on 4K. And you ask, why does Chris have them on Blu-ray and on 4K? Well, very simple. This great steelbook set, which is phenomenal, and I'll take them out and kind of show them off to you while I'm talking about this. While it is phenomenal in the artwork, I love the artwork and everything on it, it is just the 4K movies. It is not the Blu-rays as well. And they do not have any special features outside of, I think, a commentary. I think that's it. But you can see, just the Batman Forever, like the green on it, this looks really good. So the thing about the Blu-rays, and even the DVDs before that when they came out as well, there's Batman and Robin, they had really great documentaries on these. And special features. And I didn't want to get rid of them. I didn't want to. That's stuff I like to go back and revisit quite frequently, actually. So, so I've held on to this old set that I've had since literally 2009, 2010, something like that. Because I didn't want to miss out on the special features just to have it on 4K. So, yes, I own it twice. There are instances where that will happen throughout the collection, and that's okay. I'm not at a point where space is a premium yet, so that's all right. But if it's a situation where I get a Blu-ray 4K combo pack and they have all the special features that what I have now has, then I'll definitely give away the Blu-ray that I have at that point. So don't want to hoard, but I also want to have access to what I really like and enjoy, especially regarding special features. So there's that part of it here. So let me get these back in something resembling order. This may be a little precarious. Okay. So next up, again, we got a whole lot of Batman to go through. I like Batman. I don't know if you knew that. So again, we're kind of talking about this here where it's kind of a double dip kind of a situation. But I do have the Dark Knight trilogy on Blu-ray here. And then I also have them on 4K releases here. So Batman Begins with The Dark Knight, and then The Dark Knight Rises. So the same reason, there's a really good special feature on the trilogy here with Dick Donner and, of course, who directed Superman, the movie from 1978, and Chris Nolan. That's not on any of these that I can see of, so I'm keeping it because That's a really cool special feature for the record. So it's really fun. So more Batman. Now we're moving more into like Batman animated stuff, because I do separate out live action and animated because it just makes sense for me going through it more. But we start off with Batman Gotham Knight. That one's okay. It's not my favorite. Batman Mystery of the Batwoman. And yes, you will see more from Kevin Conroy's Batman as we go through. Not through these animated ones as much. I mean, there's a couple here, but as far as the classic Batman the animated series, yes, that is coming more in the TV section. Of course, Batman Under the Red Hood. This is a really, really good animated Batman film. And then Batman Year One, also very good. And then we have some from the DC animated universe here, which was Son of Batman and Batman versus Robin. I like that the Court of Owls is in this one, but it could have been done better. And then Batman Bad Blood. And then finishing out kind of the DC animated movie universe films, it's Batman Hush on this part of it there. And then we also have the very controversial Batman the Killing Joke. Once they get into the Joker side of things, it gets a lot better. But yeah, this is one of the weaker ones in my opinion. Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Charlotte loves this one, and I do too. A lot of fun. Huge TMNT fan as well. You'll see that as we move throughout more of the collection. And then we have, of course, one of the better animated ones that came out here fairly recently. Of course, Batman The Long Halloween Part 1, along with Part 2. Great, great story there. Of course, I've loved the comic for a long time, and I thought it did a really good job of telling that story in an animated movie. It did really well. And so that's all the Batman stuff. There's definitely some other ones I have on a wish list. Like I still don't have, for some weird reason, I don't have The Dark Knight Returns, the two-parter. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I apologize, but there's definitely some other stuff on there. But that's a big chunk of my Batman stuff. So next up is Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Tom Hanks does so wonderful in this, and then a lot of Beauty and the Beast. Of course, the original animated classic. That's really good. I liked that one as a kid a lot. And then the Christmas story there, Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Christmas. And then the live-action remake, of course, starring Emma Watson, which I liked okay. You could tell her voice was very heavily auto-tuned. And then, of course, Jerry Seinfeld's B-Movie. Another fun one. All right, guys, we're almost to the bottom of the third stack, and I haven't destroyed anything yet. I really am surprised I got this far. And there's a very little one kind of here at the bottom of this stack, so we'll just go through it real fast. But I love Broken Lizard. That troupe just, they get my funny bone. But at Beer Fest, great movie. It's stupid, but it's so funny and really good. And then Michael Keaton, Beetlejuice. Does it get any better? Jeez. I really need to get this on 4K though, but it's great. And then we have the Beverly Hills Cop, the 3-movie collection. Of course, 1, 2, and 3. The first two, as ever, they're great movies. The third one, it's there. But the first two are absolute classics. And then, of course, more Tom Hanks. Big. Great, great movie. And then we end up on this little bit with 2 John Wayne films. So that's Big Jake, one of his later movies, and one of my absolute favorite John Wayne films. You're going to see a lot of John Wayne as we go through as well. And the Big Trail, I should say. That's from I think the early 30s. And this one's... Sometimes older movies can really drag. The first couple times I watched it, it really dragged for me, but I also know people sing its praises and love it. So I need to give it another chance. I need to, I guess, be in the right mind frame to really kind of get it, quote unquote, but we'll get there. So we're moving to the final pile. So we'll get through we'll get through all the B's here, and then we'll be done with this video, and we'll come back at another one. So this has got some good stuff in here as well. So, all right, more John Carpenter's coming up here with Big Trouble in Little China. This movie is so bonkers, and I'm here for every single bit of it. And then It's completely excellent. Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Collection, of course, having Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. And this is a really fun release from Shout Factory. It's even got like a guitar pick with Wild Stallions logo on it and a couple of stickers, and the special features are really good on this. And of course, we had to have the sequel, Bill and Ted Face the Music. There were some people that really didn't like this movie. I really thought this was a great film that was right in line with the first two. And it worked really well for me. And I had a grin from ear to ear watching this. Next up, Adam Sandler. Just another part of my childhood. Billy Madison. I cannot talk about that movie. Anytime I bring up that movie, you have to talk about the epic takedown by the moderator towards the end of that film. You know, it's just, I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. It's like that whole shtick is just pure perfection. It's amazing. So, all right, next up is Birds of Prey. I think this one gets a lot more hate than it deserves. I think it's actually really good. It's not my favorite in the DCEU, definitely, but I do think it deserves more credit. And then some MCU action following up with Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman, man. It's sad. We're following up with more kind of tragic. You know, we have Chris Farley in Black Sheep. Chris Farley was one of my favorite guys from SNL. And then this is a really good, I love the music in this. It's a lot of blues-based music, and then it's also a really good drama as well, but Black Snake Moan. It's definitely got the provocative thing of having Christina Ricci, Samuel Jackson's character basically tying her up in chains, but it's definitely provocative in that sense, but there's definitely a good message behind it too. It's just one, just watch it if you haven't seen it. Black Swan, Natalie Portman is awesome. And then Black Widow, I was really surprised at how much I like this. I was not prepared to. I was just like, okay, it's another MCU film, we'll go watch it, blah, 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 blah. But I ended up really enjoying it. Florence Pugh, I think I've said this every time we've talked about this movie on the channel. She absolutely steals the show. She's great. And then this last little bit includes the iconic Wesley Snipes as Blade. So we have Blade 1, great film. Blade 2, even better film. And as a lot of franchises did during that time period, Blade 3 is kind of it's okay though. And I hope, since the MCU is doing all this crazy stuff with the multiverse, I really hope they do a Wesley Snipes Blade cameo at some point. That would be awesome. But we'll see. All right, we're getting down towards the end here. We still got a little bit left, but we're getting there. So, up next we have Blade Runner, the final cut. That'd be a fun one to have on 4K. And then Blade Runner 2049 as well on Blu-ray. And that might also be a really good one to try to get on 4K. And then Will Ferrell. Again, I love him. Blades of Glory. Still not my favorite Will Ferrell film, but it is really funny. Plus, me and Michelle talk about, we do each have our kind of celebrity crushes. I think hers is definitely Chris Pine. And, sorry, I've got a hair on my beard that's tickling me like nobody's business. Like, goodness gracious. Sorry. So, but yeah, hers is definitely Chris Pine. And mine is Jenna Fisher, of course, from The Office. And she's in this as well. And she is absolutely wonderful in this film. So, coming up next, Blindside, Sandra Bullock. Sandy B is amazing. She's awesome. And then next up here is definitely one that I'm going to... This is one that you can thank me for the fact that this came out on Blu-ray, because I bought the DVD for like $5 because I really wanted the movie. And then like 6 months later, they said, hey, we're putting out the Blu-ray. So, you're welcome, but it's Blue Chips. This is a really good basketball movie, starring Shaq, Penny Hardaway, and of course Nick Nolte as the coach. Next up is the classic Blues Brothers, one of my favorite comedies of all time. I can't remember if I ranked this in the top 10 or not. I may not actually count it as a comedy. To me, it works much more as a musical than a actual comedy. So I don't know. But this is definitely one of my favorite films. I can quote this sucker like nobody's business. And then I think this one's really underrated, but it's the sequel, Blues Brothers 2000. Really underrated. It's got some really laugh out loud funny moments. Next up, more John Carpenter. You're going to hear this a lot. But it's Body Bags. And I think this one's really underrated. This is really a lot of fun. And it's also got some pretty scary moments in it too. It's great. John Carpenter is awesome. Next up, Bohemian Rhapsody. Now this is not accurate at all, but I do like the way they did the music and everything and the iconography of Freddie Mercury and Queen, so it works for me. Book of Eli. Denzel Washington is amazing in anything he does. One of the great actors of our time. I really like this film too. And then we have here some really good cult movies, I think. Boondock Saints. I haven't watched these in forever, but I really like this. I really like this one a lot. And of course its sequel, Boondock Saints, All Saints Day. I remember I've watched it I've watched it once, I know. I don't know if I watched it more than that. But I really need to revisit those. Because I know I really liked the first one. I can't remember enough about the second one to be able to say whether or not I liked it or not. So, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Alright guys, we are getting to the end. This is the final little stack. So, we're getting some Matt Damon action here with, of course, the Bourne trilogy of the Bourne Identity, the Bourne Supremacy, and the Bourne Ultimatum. And I know they came out on 4K, but I just haven't upgraded. But I seem to remember something about the first movie just looks like garbage on 4K, but I'll have to look that up. But we did pick up the Bourne Legacy. Haven't watched it yet, but we did pick it up on 4K. And Jason Bourne. We also haven't watched it yet, but it's also on 4K. It's waiting for us to kind of get into a Bourne mood, I guess. One of my favorite Pixar movies is up next because I really love this one, but Brave. You got to change your fate? Like, it's like the only way I can speak with a Scottish accent, but yeah, it's a really good movie, and I love that. I love the message coming out of that, especially having a daughter. It's primo. Mel Gibson and Braveheart. William Wallace. It's really weird though that like in the collection that like the two kind of Scottish films end up like right by each other. But yeah, and great movie. Oh, the ending is so like guttural. It's like oh, but oh, so awesome. 80s films, you gotta love them. The Breakfast Club, absolute classic. I mean, this is just, I don't know. It's one of those things like if you don't like this movie, I almost question you. So, it is what it is. Next up, this is one that definitely Michelle championed when we first got together, and I'd never seen it, and I love this film so much. Great noir movie. Brick, Rian Johnson, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Oh, so good. Another Pixar movie, very underrated. It's A Bug's Life. We showed this to Charlotte a couple months ago. She really loved it. And then we're following up that with a baseball movie with Bull Durham. Classic baseball movie. Come on. Great stuff. And then we got another Shout Select with Tom Hanks and The Burbs. Another great kind of pseudo-scary, kind of suspense kind of movie that's also really funny. And then this is another one that Michelle really championed. This is a made-for-TV movie starring Tim Matheson and that jerk reporter from Die Hard. But it's Buried Alive. This was a lot of fun. I like this one a lot. I want to watch this one at some point again. And this one is definitely one that Michelle's a fan of. I don't like this one very much at all. Just doesn't. Outside of just Christina Aguilera being kind of scantily clad, that's just about it. But burlesque. Just not my thing. Michelle adores it though. Good for her. She watches. Like if like I need to be out, like I'll come home and she hasn't quite finished the movie yet, she'll have it blare. I'm like, good for you, because I watch a lot of horror stuff too. When she's and different things she doesn't like whenever like I have like free moment like after Charlotte goes to bed or something like that. So I'm really glad when she gets to watch some of the stuff that's like maybe not my thing, and she takes the time and watches some of that stuff. So I'm really glad. But guys, we made it all the way through. I'm really excited that nothing got destroyed so far. Now, the trick is going to be to get it all back on the shelf. So that's good. So like I'd say we're about halfway through utter catastrophe being avoided. we'll see how that goes. But I had a lot of fun going through this stuff. I would love to hear your thoughts on like what we have here so far. What are you surprised through this point that we don't have in like, in alphabetical order that's like either like in the number section or in the A section or the B section? What are you surprised we don't have? What are you surprised we do have? Please let me know that stuff in the comments as well. Also, if you like what we're doing here at D's Nerds, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to ring the bell icon so we have new videos coming out. We also have merch, so if you want to go down to our description down here, it goes to our store. Anything you buy there just supports the channel. We greatly appreciate that. And also, we have we're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you're missing us in between videos, you can follow us there and just search for D's Nerds, and we'll pop right up. And so until then, this is the end of. We got through all this stuff. That's great. Next month we'll post. Next clump, probably like C, D, maybe E. We'll just kind of, I'll get like a similar number of movies. We'll just try to work it that way until we get to the very end, and we'll just kind of see what we do after that. But I see at least 4 or 5 videos just doing that. So, but guys, greatly appreciate you if you've made it through this far of the video. Thank you so much. And until next time, I'm Chris. This is D's Nerds. You guys have a great, safe rest of the day. Bye.